Alright guys, so let's talk here about the Mayans. Mayans are one of my favorite civilizations. What is so special about the Mayans? Well, as you can see, their start is quite different. They start with 4 villagers. There's one extra villager here for the Mayans on the beginning. The problem is you have no houses, so basically you have 5 out of 5 population on the beginning, which actually forces you to start by making loom. Also, since you have this extra villager, but you have like a 50 food discount, so you need to be aware of that and make a very solid build here on the beginning. Just go for the regular one, but start with loom, and that's gonna solve it for you. Mayans are a Mesoamerican civilization. They have excellent archers and eagles, and they have a good discount on their archer units. So basically, their archers do cost less 10% during the feudal age, and that will scale towards 20 and even 30% until Imperial Age, making the crossbowman play for the Mayans their core game. So whenever you play Mayans, if you could choose what unit to play, you would probably be choosing to play with the crossmen, which are pretty good. Apart from that, they have regular eagles, they have plumed archer, which is their unique unit. We can make a small chapter to talk specifically about that unit. And they also have the Huche javeliners, which is basically unique technology here, the silver crown, which will give an extra projectile for your skirmishers. Because of these, skirmishers from the Mayans can actually deal twice the damage to some units like the siege and units with high pierce armor. So this can be pretty powerful here on certain situations, and their skirmishers can be one of the best one in the game once you get access to that upgrade as well. And also there's an important thing that I would like to state. Mayans have a bonus that a lot of people do not understand, which is basically resources last 15% longer. How can you explain and how do you understand this bonus? It's pretty simple. Think about this tree. How much wood is there on the tree? 100. How many wood can you take from this tree if you are Mayan? 115. Yes, they actually generate magical resources here. You can actually take more resources than there are available here on the nature. For example, this ship. The ship should have only 100 food. Of course, thanks to the decay, you are not gonna be able to collect the full amount of food. So basically, for a regular sieve, you would get, I don't know, something around 80 food, and the Mayans are actually gonna get 15% extra from that. Well, just think about the tree example, and it will basically give you a more insight on how this works. Let's say that you were just making archers and eagles, and you are fighting against an Aztec, and you are both playing with crossbowmen and eagles. Your gold is just gonna last longer. It's actually having like 15% extra gold pile here. So this basically is very helpful, especially for longer games, and your resources lasting longer means that you can effectively try to win by starving out your opponent, because his resources are just gonna be gone sooner than yours. Alright, so I hope I have somehow explained this bonus for you guys. Think about the wood example. You can actually have 115 wood for every 100 tree here that you get. Mayans are just doing here a basic build. Start on the mill here because that's a chicken map. Lured some extras. They are going out for the lumber camp. And guys, by the time the Mayan reaches the next age, they are actually going to have a pretty powerful game here. His opponent is actually attacking here with militias, which is quite common here. Not so unusual to be attacked by such unit. I don't know if this villager is going to survive, probably not. The villager is down, but the Mayan is already starting to go for an archer range here, and I think that the core game here for the Mayan is to play archers during the feudal age. So basically you can see the Mayan dropping here archers, and the other unit that can be pretty powerful for the Mayan to play with are the eagles. So playing both archers and eagles is what we want to do here as the Mayans. As I said, you can play with both crossbowmen or eagles as your core units. If you are an Aztec, you probably want to think about playing with eagles, playing with monks, playing with either with jaguars later on. If you are Inca, you can actually consider playing with eagles and skirmishers because they get the full discount. But for the Mayan, I would say that the best composition here is the double gold composition, which is basically playing eagles and archers. There is a build on my channel talking specifically about this build. It's pretty powerful, it's probably my favorite one for the Civ, but what you need to know is that as the Mayan you can pretty much play with both archers and eagles, and they are very powerful. And later on the castle age you can just choose which unit you want to play. Right here guys, let's take a small appreciation here for what is going on in the game. The Mayan player is only making archers, which means that he's having some excellent food savings. So far he has around 18 villagers on the food here, considering sheep gatherers, farmers, berry villagers, which means that he is very close to clicking up. He hasn't made a full investment here into farms, but of course he can actually use the market, that's some small practice that every civilization can do, to boost his uptime to the next stage. Upon going to the next stage, the Mayan player can choose if he wants to play with eagles or if he wants to play with crossbowmen, or even a small variation of both. But of course, if you can already choose to focus in one of those two, like archers or eagles, then you should adapt your build here and add extra buildings to just produce that unit. For example, if you want to focus on crossbowmen, I would recommend a second archer range. If you do want to play here with eagles, I do recommend you to add extra barracks. Like we can see here on the game, the Mayan player is adding 3 barracks, and he's also getting several upgrades to boost his eagle. For example, the armor, so the eagles are going to be a bit more bulky, forging, which will give them extra attack, and arson, which will give them 2 extra damage against buildings. This is a scenario where the Mayan player is getting faster to the castle age, so that combined with arson, forging, and the bonus here from the eagles once they advance to the castle age, which is basically adding here 3 attack to them, will make them very powerful against buildings and make it easier for the Mayan eagles to go there and take down a palisade, or even other kind of defenses. Right here you can see a Mayan focus on eagles, trying to break in the defense from his opponent. As you can see, different from knights, you can actually keep producing eagles without having like way too much farmers. The most expensive part of going for eagles is the upgrades. After that they only cost 20 food, and then basically by using the farms here you can just keep the production of both eagles and villagers. And of course then you can support your eagles with units such as the siege, such as the monk, of course depending on what your opponent is doing. Right here we can see that the Mayan player keeps pressuring his opponent. Even without upgrading eagle scouts to eagle warrior, the eagles are pretty powerful. They do have 7 base attack, 2 pierce armor, so basically they take only 1 damage to the feudal age skirmishers here. And now that his opponent is finally going towards the castle age, he does decide to upgrade eagle warrior and boost their power. Mayan's pressuring a lot. I don't know if the Bengali player is going to be able to hold, probably not. As you can see, once he has the Eagle Warrior, now he has up to 3 natural pierce armor together with the armor, gives up to 4, and it can even scale up to 5. So basically with this amount of pierce armor, units such as the Elite Skirmisher will actually deal only 1 damage to the eagles, and even units such as the Crossbowmen are gonna have some difficulty here to deal with this cheap but powerful unit. And then you have the ultimate weapon from the Mayan Civilizations, the eagle. So in this game, Mayans focused on the eagles, but of course you can actually focus as well on the crossbowmen. So that was one small example. Alright guys, so I would like to talk about some other very interesting bonus here from the Mayans. By the way, the other bonus that I want to talk here is that they have cheaper walls. Their thing bonus is that all walls cost minus 50%. The implication of that is that basically walling as the Mayan is way smoother than with any other civilization. So in this game, for example, I was facing a Korean player. I was playing against a player using the Koreans, I had the Mayans, and I just decided before even clicking up to Feudal Age to set up multiple villagers to complete my walls, to be completely protected here from any kind of rushes, like scout rushes, skirmisher rushes, archer rushes. So basically because of this discount, I could make like all of these walls still during the Dark Age, 45 tiles, and still reach Feudal Age with a very reasonable amount of resources that allowed me to start making my archer range, and of course some of my military units for the Mayan, the Eagles. So of course this was a hybrid approach here, not aggressive but not defensive as well, just making small army to try to harass the enemy somehow. And one thing that I was doing here was using the build that I'm gonna link here on the video, which was basically opening here with Eagle and archers and anticipating the blacksmith. so that I would have early fletching. With a small army of eagles and archers, you will have such a good powerful tool here to kill your opponent. Eagles are great when fighting both villagers, scouts and any other units. They have 50 HP, 4 attack, 2 natural pierce armor, and of course the archers, which are also a deadly weapon here to kill villagers. Thanks to the use of these weapons, I was able to kill some villagers, harass the opponent, force him to make like some bad decisions, and even lose some villagers. Unfortunately for me, my opponent was Korean, which means that he had extra armor on his archer, so taking fights against those units was, well, pretty difficult, and I didn't manage to do much more than that. Nearly killed the second view, but that's basically it. The thing here is that I'm fully walled. On this stage of the game, it's up for me to go up and boost my economy, and as I said, you can boost your economy on several different ways, but the regular way here is to go towards 18 villagers on the food. I'm really investing here heavy on the food, and instead I could actually anticipate my uptime by going for a market or just going for a regular build. I did decide here to go for a regular build, and now it was time for me to decide which unit I did want to play. Archers or eagles. If I do choose the archers, I'm gonna add an extra archer range. If I do choose the eagles, I'm gonna add extra barracks, like even 3 barracks. And of course, since my walls are cheaper and I want some extra safety, I can abuse this bonus to make like even double layers here. And that is just gonna be okay for my economy. Alright guys, so I did choose to play here with crossbowmen, so I'm adding here more archer ranges. Crossbowmen are pretty powerful for the Mayans, and especially I am paying a cheaper price of only 36 gold for these guys here during the castle age. So I can pretty much get access to all my upgrades here, economical ones, the crossbowman ones as well, and try to raid and harass my opponent. Going for a rev investment here, going for ballistics, going for an extra TC, so that's basically how the Mayan Eco should develop. Mayan economy is pretty good, your resources last longer, you already have that extra villager on the beginning, so it's not so difficult to outbound your opponent, and of course you can just use your archers not with their strength here on the stats, but rather with the numbers, and because of this I can actually cast multiple attacks on several different spots of the map. Let's talk about the support units here for the archers. If you do play with the crossbowmen, one of the units that can be pretty good to support here are the mangonels or the rocket cards, depending on your civilization. As the Mayan, that doesn't change, so in order to face a bigger army of enemy ranged units, I did choose to add to my composition here the mangonels, and meanwhile I was just rapidly booming here, expanding my economy and investing into more villagers, more defensive buildings there, and more farms. And of course, thanks to the use of the mangonel, I could actually get some good shots here on my opponent and take down even a stronger army while still messing rapidly the archers. So that's how we want to play as the Mayan, messing archers, booming, getting eco upgrades. I was focusing a lot here on the military on this game because I wanted to keep the pressure here. You don't want to give Korean the map control, but I was unfortunately forced into a very hard scenario there. After losing several fights against my opponent, I ended up being forced to play a bit more defensive. As you can see, bypassing the Mayan defense is quite difficult because of the walls, but you cannot fully protect yourself from approaches like this one, forward castles. On this stage, my archers were pretty much doomed here. Eagles do not have a good performance against war wagons on equal numbers, or if the player already has wagons, and archers also does not deliver so much damage to the war wagons. So right here I was in a very tough position because the Korean player was starting to make war wagons against me, and basically this unit has 5 pierce armor, 11 attack, so it can bypass the armor from my eagles, it can outlive and just tank all the kind of ranged unit fights here that I can do here with my archers, and there are very few answers to the war wagons. While they are in small numbers, you can actually defend from them using monks, so that was my first idea here, but of course the other unit that can actually succeed here, and it's very situational but very good for the Mayan, is the skirmisher. As I said, there is a technology with the Huche Javeliners, which is this one that you can afford here in the castle. It does cost 300 food and 300 gold, so honestly that's the cost of an Imperial Wage upgrade in my opinion. So my suggestion is that you only research this technology after you click to Imperial Wage. You do not want to delay your Imperial Age, so the correct timing to use this upgrade is right after clicking to Imperial Age. But once you do that, you are actually delivering, giving extra 2 here for your skirmishers and extra attack. A skirmisher with extra DPS is something insane. As you can see, you are just going to have this one extra spear being thrown here, which can be very helpful when fighting against siege and also against other units as well, especially high pierce armored units. As you can see, the enemy had like several war wagons. This is the kind of army that can finish up a game, runs, war wagons and so on, but with the help of these skirmishers, which were about to be upgraded, I was being able to get a good fight here. His crossmen, despite having all the armors, were already having some trouble, and thanks to the use of the skirmishers, I was able to take down both runs here. The skirmishers are actually dealing 2 damage per shot, and also kill here the wagons there. So that's basically the idea. Both wagons and runs going down to regular Mayan skirmishers. As you can see, his army was a bit stuck around here. It was dying like it had no armor, honestly. This skirmisher is insane. On this stage of the game, I think that there were very few units that could actually withstand some kind of chance against the skirmishers. I would say that you would need like a better siege, like bombard cannons from the distance, or heavy rocket carts as onagers and things like that, or you try to go for heavy pierced armor like the fire lancers, which are actually quite expensive and the Korean wouldn't be able to afford on this stage of the game. Let's take a look on the skirmishers trying to deal here with some battering runs pushing the castle. Once I have a small pack of skirmishers, they start to deliver several damage here to the battering runs, twice the damage that a regular skirmisher would deal. Honestly, I was lacking numbers here. If I had a pack of like 30 skirmishers, I would just melt those runs. But still, even with only this amount, it was pretty useful and I was able to counter the runs. So this is the ultimate weapon, a skirmisher that actually has extra damage against siege and can be quite useful here. This is honestly insane and probably one of my favorite units. So let's take a look here. 2 shots of 14 skirmishers and I do take down rocket carts. So you can take down any kind of castle wage unit once you have this skirmisher, and you can just harass any other unit by using this. So it's very unusual, but basically you can turn around games and win big fights by having the Mayan Javeliner, Hulti Javeliner Elite Skirmishers. Of course, you need to pay attention, they are still gonna die to the siege if you do not pay attention. So controlling your army is the trick here, which I obviously didn't notice it. And let's talk now about the ultimate Mayan raiding weapon, the Eagle Warrior here with El Dorado. Every civilization here has good things or good upgrades that affects their eagles. The Aztecs are going to have the Garland Wars, which give their infantry +4 attack. The Incas will have Fabric Shields, its name has changed. Whereas the Incas, they have a golden crown called Fabric Shields, which is actually give 1 extra melee and 2 extra pierce armor to the Eagles, and the Mayans have El Dorado, guys. Mayans have the best one. El Dorado is a golden crown, pretty expensive, but it actually gives your Eagles 40 extra HP. So how does this go? Actually, my suggestion for the Mayan player is invest heavily into the farming if you're going for the Eagles. The reason is you are gonna need a lot of food here in order to get the upgrades, and later you can use this accidental food to make support units such as the skirmisher and even sell on the market to have extra gold to afford even more Eagles. So the priority here should be getting all the armor for the Eagle. This way you're gonna get up to +4, and of course getting El Dorado, which will give you extra 100 HP. So then once you are able to afford the elite version of the Eagle Warrior, you're just gonna have an amazing weapon to raid your opponent. It's very difficult to kill it, it's 100 HP, similar to how Armenians have like 100 HP champions. You can actually use 100 HP Eagle Warriors. There it goes, Elite Eagle Warriors with 8 pierce armor and 100 HP. Taking this unit down with regular ranged unit like skirmishers, arbalest, or even cavarters is very difficult, and once it starts raiding your opponent's economy, it becomes a nightmare for him to defend. By the way, guys, remember all the food that we did invest into here. My suggestion for you is to go for the guilds upgrade, once you are on Imperial Age, and even if you are not using all that food, for example, if you were playing with like a Rusar civilization, you can just use this upgrade here to get better rates on the market and trade this extra food to be able to afford even more eagles. As you can see, once the opponent sees those eagles starting to raid his economy, he knows that it's GG. There's basically no way to stop it unless you have a powerful counter, such as a champion, a paladin, something like that, without, or even a hand cannoneer. Without a good counter to infantry, these eagles will take like forever to die to a town center, making it very impossible for you to keep making economy. So that's the other main weapon that I think that is worth talking about. Alright guys, so I would like to use this video to talk about one of the Mayans' ultimate weapon. On this Hill Fort game, Draken used a very aggressive forward here to try and cripple my economy. I was playing as the god. I was able to survive, but at a very big cost here, a very high cost. I ended up losing most of my villagers, so I was several villagers behind Draken. But I had one of the ultimate weapons here, the Hurskal. Hurskal are the god unit infantry that actually has extra pierce armor, and that should actually be one of the greatest counters to the Mayan, because apart from converting the small number of Hurskals with monks, what else can a Mayan do? Because basically each archer and even crossbowman only deals 1 damage to this unit because it already has a natural 6 pierce armor. Not only that, but this infantry also has 10 attack and bonus against ranged units. So this basically means that if my unit does take any fight against the enemy archers, it can actually melt them down. So having to deal with this unit is kind of a nightmare for the Mayan. For this reason, there are few weapons that can actually work and allow the Mayan to play properly. So one of the answers, if the Mayan has to face a unit like the Hurskal, or let's call as well the Giant Swordsman, which is has a very similar role here on the game, are monks. So basically, if you are on this scenario, do not try crossbowmen and do not try eagles, which are of course your best units. Instead of that, try to play with monks. Monks are pretty powerful and it can actually allow you to go for a very interesting approach. Monks can actually convert the Hurskals, and oh my goodness, Draken was in such a bad spot here, man. Playing against Hurskals and Siege, trying to afford to make his castle go up, but having a lot of difficulty with the enemy mangonel here. So that's basically, guys, the worst scenario where you can actually be as the Mayan player. Fighting against one of your main counter units, counter civilizations here, and getting to face both Hurskals here and mangonels here. Having a lot of trouble to try and get a castle up, losing several villagers in the process. And then eventually the Mayan gets up to the next stage and starts doing the Plumed Archer. And this is the unit that I want to talk about, guys. Plumed Archer. Plumed Archer is a unique archer from the Mayans, different from an archer. As you can see, they have very different stats. Similar attack of a crossbowman, so nothing special so far, but take a look on their HP. A regular crossbowman has only 35 HP, while the Plumed Archer will have 50 HP. A regular Plumed Archer will have no base armor. They are a very naked unit, and while the Plumed Archer will actually have 1 extra pierce armor. And of course, we also have the speed. While the crossbowmen have 0.96 speed, which is like a similar speed of an infantry. But of course, once the infantry get squires, it will actually outrun the crossbowmen. The Plumed Archer has a natural move speed of 1.20 here, which means that they can actually outrun infantry here, making them pretty powerful. So thanks to that, Mayan have access to this unit, and this unit can not only get like good fights against other ranged units because of its stats, but it can actually play like similar to a Cav Archer, dealing damage here and running out to their base. As you can see, they're only dealing like 1 damage per shot here because of the high stats here from the Hurskal, but it's very difficult for the Hurskal to get like a clean engage against this unit, because whenever the Hurskals are getting close to it, the plumed archers can actually run back to some safe position, like a castle here, or closer to on bonks here. So the Hurskalls are good, but they do have a lot of difficulty to deal with this unit. So that's equivalent of a Cav Archer for the Mayan Civilization. And even if eventually the Hurskalls approach it, well, the Plumed Archers are gonna get massed more and more, and they actually have some hidden bonus against infantry that takes place especially after you go towards the Imperial Age. So let's advance here this game until the Imperial Age, where you can actually see how this affects the civilization. Draken is going for a fast Imperial Age, so despite having a very little investment here on food and basically getting no other good resources here, he is about to get into the Imperial Age. He has more than 20 Plumed Archers so far and is making them no stop. With this amount of Plumed Archers, once you get a high number, even if you are facing a unit such as the Hurskal, well, you can actually start delivering some significant damage to them because you are actually gonna have extra stats. So we are about to get into the Imperial Age. Mayans just developing with a single TC and going for the Bracer. Even units such as Scorpions have a lot of difficulty to deal with the Plumed Archers. With the support of Monks, similar to Cav Archer and other ranged units, you can actually keep them healthy despite all the fights they were engaging into, and now they actually have Racer. So 8 total attack, and they can actually go up to even more once they get Chemistry upgraded. But there comes the elite version of the Plumed Archer, which is rather expensive but affordable at all. The elite Plumed Archer does cost 700 food and 1000 wood. It's one of the unique. It's one of the only unique units that costs no gold to upgrade, which can actually be good, especially for a stronger economy. It shouldn't be so challenging to get this upgrade done once you are on Imperial Age. But even if you are playing with a 1TC eco, with the correct eco balance, you can actually afford enough to get the elite version of it upgraded. Of course, it's a great unit to raid because of its speed, and also a great unit to raid because of its extra resistance, thanks to their natural armor. Game keeps evolving. Goth is going for a Revi Boom here, while the Mayan is just going for the Elite Plumed Archer. And now guys, with the Elite Plumed Archer upgrade, this means that this unit can actually get great fight against units such as the Hurskal. Because it also has a hidden bonus here versus infantry. If you go towards the description here of the unit, you are going to see this is a Mayan unique foot archer with fast movement speed, which is strong against archer units and infantry. And this is cool because, yeah, it is indeed strong against infantry, and it has a hidden bonus, allowing it to make to deal extra damage to infantry once it's on the elite version here. So basically you have an elite Plumed Archer. It's not yet fully upgraded, it's still lacking chemistry. So it's one upgrade away from getting fully upgraded. Now Draken has enough resources, so he's probably gonna get it upgraded. Or not. I don't know. He's actually relying a bit more on the numbers. With a single TC and an investment Revi here into the Plumed Archers, now receiving Tumbling and also Chemistry, they're actually gonna be one of the most threatening weapons of the game. As you can see, Hurskalls are yet not on the elite version. They're soon about to get their elite upgrade. And the Mayans are just eating out everything they can with a very high number. So I think that one of the keys to play with the Mayans here is to always look forward to get extra numbers here and good timings. The elite version has a 2 natural pierce armor, so it makes very difficult for regular archer units or even cav archers to deal with them. And now, with the addition of chemistry and other upgrades, you can see that this unit can actually deal significant amount of damage even to high pierced armor like the elite Hurskalls. An elite Hurskal has a 10 total armor here. 8 from the natural stats from the unit, 2 extra from the armor, but even that doesn't stop the Plumed Archers from dealing a significant amount of damage to the Hurskal. Of course, if the Hurskals can actually touch the Plumed Archers, they are actually going to suffer. But as you can see, with combining with some monks and also with a big number of them, this unit can even melt the elite Hurskals. Yes, guys, we're talking about an archer unit, and it's not the composite bowman that can actually fight back against Urscals. So if you are playing with the Mayans, even your best units such as the Eldorado Eagle, to combine it with the Elite Plumed Archer, can even face up a god like Straightforward. And of course, because of their high stats, raiding with this unit and diving town centers and even castle areas shouldn't be a problem. Basically, the guy just took a dive, took down a trebuchet, and barely lose units while doing so. And you can also combine that with monks, as you guys already know, to keep defending yourselves. One of the biggest weaknesses from the Plumed Archers is that they do not have such the same attack as an Arbalest. So if you have, for example, to face a unit like a Paladin, the Arbalest will deal 1 more damage to it, because it actually stops at 5 attack here, even on the Elite version, while the Arbalest go towards 6 attack, and other archer units, such as the Longbowman, actually goes towards 7. So yeah, they are indeed weaker versus cavalry, but they do have the power of the mobility. So you can actually make big plays and just run toward choke points or run back closer to your safe spots, even when you are facing cavalry. So in theory they should be worse than the Arbalest here, but in practice, if you can choose between Plumed Archers or Arbalest, and that's not restricted to an economical choice, you are not choosing like over 60 Arbalest against 15 Plumed Archers, but actually 60 from 60, well, the Plumed Archers are always going to be the correct choice. So right here on this game you can see that the Mayans just going like all in Plumed Archers, Goths trying to mass some Burskalls to fight back, but without similar numbers, the God have absolutely no chance. The Plumed Archers are just way too strong for the God to deal with. God gets cornered here. It actually needs a lot of food to support his unit, while the Mayan only need food, a small amount of food and gold. And as you can see, once the Mayan have mastered their Plumed Archers, it can eventually get good fights even against such strong units as the Elite Urskal. So this is the ultimate Mayan weapon, a mobile and bulky tanky archer unit that can just be combined here with monks and play on heals to have an ultimate effect even against the god. So this is probably the best archer unit of the game, but it gets countered by the Rattan Archer, so beware, if you're playing against the Vietnamese Archer unit, you do not want to play with the Elite Plumed Archers.